Right.
Absolutely.
So I want to first though thank these assistants, Parker, Lola, and Jade and Aaron left, and these are all college. These are all college because they got some great majors going too.
Yeah.
I think Parker's in civil engineering, and Lola's doing speech pathology. Speech pathology. I call them psychopaths when I was a principal. Anyway, and then Aaron's going to architecture. Parker's going to civil engineering, and Jade's going to be in advocacy for children. So
nice.
in the law. So pretty cool. Thank you guys for doing what you did. And to Bob as well, who's not here. And then thanks to Austin and Tony for organizing this. Let's give them a hand because this is pretty cool stuff. This is what the clubs should be doing all across the country, is helping educate the anglers, safety number one, and then educating us on what we can do to help catch fish. And then thanks to Ned for letting us fish with you today, man. That was like the most biggest privilege I've ever had, you know. I didn't even know what the Ned meant for a long time, and I found out today. He is one of the most efficient anglers I've ever fished with. I mean, it's effortless, whatever he does. I snagged a lure on a dock, and it was like a ninja appeared, flipped under the bar like a 5-year-old, you know, on monkey bars.
I was thinking jungle.
Yeah, and he like slipped and got the lure and tossed in the water and tried to help me catch a fish with it, and then was right back in the boat. I mean, who does that?
At 85 years
At 85 years old. You're not 85. You're lying.
Yeah.
You're lying.
Seriously.
I don't think that at 45.
But so anyway, Ned's an incredible person, and I learned a lot today. Regardless, and because I did more watching than actually I was fishing, but I was just wanted to watch and see, you know, what is it that makes Ned successful. So guys, go out and fish with people and learn and get better from that, because that's how you learn. I mean, I like to fish with people that I feel like are more accomplished maybe as anglers. That helps me get better. By the way, I've been guiding for a lot of years, and as I guided through the years, I learned more from the clients than I did from me teaching them. And by the way, how many of you have wives out here? This person. When I guided couples, the guy always knew everything. He says, I got it, I know what I'm doing. And the gal would just show you what to do. Oh, okay. And then the gal would always catch the biggest fish and the most fish during the day. And the guy would come back like a dog with his tail between his legs. Okay, what are you guys doing? You know, so truth, that's the truth, man. So women are better anglers. I don't care, because they're more patient than we are.
They have more patience.
Yeah, and they don't have egos like we do. Did you get that, gals?
Yeah.
Get that in the notes there, Jamie. Okay, so I actually was a finesse fisherman in California in the 70s. I was a finesse bass fisherman, but didn't know it. All right? I had a treble hook with corn and no weight. That was my finesse approach. And I caught a giant bass, but didn't know what it was. I went home, looked at my fishing encyclopedia. I still have it. It's a big, thick book. And I looked it up. I said, oh, largemouth bass. No one taught me. I taught myself all this stuff. My dad took me as a 5th grader to High Sierra Mountains in California to go fishing for trout. I caught my first trout. I was hooked from then. And then from then on, my dad was in the Navy. He worked in the Apollo missions and stuff, so I didn't see him much. I did get to see President Nixon. That was pretty cool. But anyway, I lived in Hawaii, Japan, and I lived in California and Virginia and Nebraska. So I've seen a lot of the world, but I had to teach myself how to fish. My dad would put my Zodiac boat in his trunk of a Cadillac, and he would drop me off at San Diego Bay, and I'd go fishing, and he'd come back and pick me up at night. That was my fishing experiences. You guys know the deep sea, but I'm not getting into that now. Anyway, so the Neko rig. Oh man, that's a big bass.
Did you go over all that? 40 years?
Not yet. Oh yeah. Well, okay. I was a 40-year career in education. I was a principal, teacher, superintendent, you name it, a custodian, nurse, whatever. Professional kayak fishing guide. I've been guiding for 21 years. No, yeah, 20 since 2004. So 21 years. Tournament angler. I fished over 500 tournaments. 300 and something on Tourney X. I guess I recorded them there. I write, speak, make lures, and I clean the house now because my wife still works and I'm retired. And then professional objective, that's it there. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Do a lot of other stuff too, I guess, but that's the major stuff. Next, okay, the Neko rig, as we know, it's a finesse technique. And mine progressed from a series of things. Like for instance, when I found out the Ned rig I was actually with a friend in 2015 on Lake Wanahoo, and my friend Peter Maudlin, he was catching a lot of fish and I wasn't. He came over and he says, hey man, you struggling? I go, yeah, I can't catch anything, man. I had a finesse worm on, nothing. he goes, try this. So he cuts a sink, not it was a young dinger. He cut it in half and said, here, put this on this jig hook and you'll catch fish. And by gosh, it worked. So Ned, thank you for that. So I started using a Ned rig. But then I went to the national championship with KBF and I was using a Ned rig with a small hook on it. I kept losing giant fish on it. So I thought, I gotta get a bigger hook on it thing. So eventually we got bigger hooks on a Ned rig. Well, so I used the Ned rig a little bit. And then I worked with Bass Pros quite a bit. And I was up there, and one of the guys working there, he was an old weatherman, Jim Flowers, and he came up to me one day, he goes, Marty, I guess I want to show you. And so he showed me this worm, and I go, that's a wacky. He goes, no, it's a Neko. He goes, turn the hook this way. And you guys probably know that, you turn the hook backwards. So anyway, you see it there. See how it's turned backwards instead of sideways. He goes, go out and try this molten craw color and go out and see how you do. Put this weight in the head of it. And it was like unbelievable. I did a catch all you can event way back then, 2017 I believe it was, and I won it by a long ways because I was catching them on that thing right there. And so I fell in love with it, started tinkering with it, doing different things, and that's where we are today. It's primarily for bass, but it will catch literally every single fish in the lake.
Carp.
Even, yeah, carp. I caught a carp today, a giant carp. I've even caught shad. I don't know how, I snagged them or what in the lip, but I've caught shad with it. But I've caught virtually every species you can think of. When I went to British Columbia this summer, I tried it up in the ocean, but I couldn't get it down fast enough in there. So I don't know if it works or not. But I used a different lure there. So anyway, and then the other thing is, you know, with the pressure, the fishing pressure that's happening today. By the way, you guys may not know this, but there's a lot of baby boomers that have retired. I know there's another one. Here was David at. There's another one right there. Baby boomers are retired. I don't know, but I'm a baby boomer, and you might think that lakes don't have a lot of people on the weekdays. There's a lot of retired guys fishing on the weekdays as well. So there's a lot of pressure on these lakes out there, and since the COVID thing, there's been a resurgence in fishing, so these lakes are getting super pressured. So you got to find something, and the problem is, how can we help you guys catch more fish and maybe some big fish to go along with it? Well, the Ned and the Neko are great examples. I'm not trying to sell them to you here today, but I'm going to tell you something. You will flat out catch fish with that thing, and with that Ned rig. And the other thing is, it takes a little practice to get used to it. So it involves putting a worm or a creature bait on there, and of course, let me go back again. And it's subtle movements. Neko comes from the Japanese word. I'm going to talk about that for a second. Neko sogi, which means to remove something completely. So, like for instance, you pull up a tree by its roots. That's removing a complete. That's what Neko sogi means. And then a Japanese angler, I'm going to try to pronounce this right because I never had anything. It's Haruhiko Murakami, who first came up with the idea in the 1980s. And he said it was the rig that catches everything like a vacuum cleaner. And he was right. I mean, it literally cleans everything out. I mean, you're going to catch. And the other thing is, a lot of guys say, well, if you're catching little bass in this area, you need to move because there's no big bass there. Maybe true. But I'm going to catch every little bass until there's nothing left. Then I'm going to get that big bass. That's how I look at it. Because they are there. They're there somewhere. So that's what I do. And then another implication is that the Neko is a claw-like action like a cat. So that's where the Neko came from. All right. And by the way, there's a picture. There is a picture coming up. I've had people name their dogs Neko. It's kind of a cool name, you know, because of that. Their fish, you'll see one here coming up. His name's Neko. Anyway, so you go to the next slide there.
Might be at the end of this.
And then, so I told you the story. What? Next one. So you can see stickworms, creature baits, about anything you can Neko, it's got any kind of length to it. I have even Neko rigged the micro Finesse Worm Z. All right, I have a hook for it and a band for it. All right, I don't tell a lot of people that, but since you guys are, oh wait, we're getting taped too. But anyway, I actually Neko rig a Worm Z micro for smallies.
However, it didn't catch any fish, right?
Maybe. And then, so one of my favorites though is of course the Z-Man TRD, and it's about 4 inches long, has a nice profile. I really believe that more than anything, it's the wake that the bait produces. you know, when you're bringing it through the water. And it's something about it that draws that fish's attention and they go get it. That color, I think, helps too. So, okay, go to the next one there. So you can see these are some of the baits that I've used. There's some robo worms, the missile baits worms. You can even Neko a fluke. And I do have it in my box here, that Z-Man Minnow Z, I think it's a Minnow Z. And then claws work really good, especially the floating ones. The claws come up and you got the weight on the end. Now, there's one that's not on here, and Russ Snyder's, I don't, everybody knows about it because he showed us that bait. Those little gillies, those power, I think they're power bait gillies. If you put a Neko weight in the bottom of that and put a little coiled spring deal in the top, that's what he used to catch. You get 2 top 10 finishes to show with our Neko weights. So that's pretty cool to see that. And it stays upright. It'll keep your minnow or fish or plastic fish upright. Same with the carotid. Notice it's up in here, and then this part will float since it's a Z-Man, and you hook it right up here. And you can even, the bands too, you see I've got a band, I'll talk about that in a minute, but here's another crawl, and these claws will stick up and float around, and that just entices bass even more. So I've tinkered with a lot of these things here and with the Neko rig. And that's so, and you can use a variety, like I said. Go ahead, next one there. They can catch big fish. You guys know Trey Dawson?
Yeah.
That's his bass out of his backyard right there with a Neko rig. When he first started, he wanted to try, he's a sponge for everything. He wants to get really, and he's doing really good this year. He caught his backyard, but you can see here how it's rigged with the hook backwards, weight up here and so forth. But it will catch big fish. This year, you guys know I do that challenge series, the 2025. I have caught a 23.75, a 23.5, and a 22 something, and I think at least 20 fish over 20 inches this year on the Neko rig. And I've caught a 20-inch fish in every state I've fished from the Neko rig. And I'm not trying to brag on it. I'm just telling you that it flat out will catch big fish. All right. So next one there. And then there's a variety of nail weights out there. A lot of guys like to use these nail weights like this. And I used to use finishing nails. If you go back on my YouTube channel, way back, a wacky worm that I made, it's an old video, it's an old pink worm on there. We were just messing around, and I used actual finishing nails, and I still use finishing nails for some things. But I just tinkered around, and I wanted to make a profile that made the head look natural with the worm. Now, I'm not going to downgrade VMC or anything like that. But VMC makes a half moon, and other guys do too, but it's not the same width as the worm there, and it just doesn't look natural. I wanted to make something look natural and then paint them up, and that's what I use, mainly. But there are all kinds of shapes and sizes out there. You just go to Amazon and click on Neko head, and you'll get 1 million of them. You know, I just feel like these work best for me and what I do, and a lot of guys are using them and catching fish with them. But the other thing is, with the weight extended outside of the worm, I think there's a little bit more power. I think like a baseball bat. When I played baseball, I would get down and eat the bat as far as I could with my pinky around the knob, and I feel like I got more force to hit the ball further, harder. The same is true here, is you're going to get more force because the physics of it, the nail is away from the worm. You're going to get more, I think, more swoosh or power, or what do you want to say with it. So there's a lot of variety out there, and a variety of sizes. And I make mine from 1/16, 1/8, but I can make them up, I think, to 5/8 of an ounce, because I do punch with them as well. That's another story. Okay, and then here's the next thing. Here's some of the weights. Look at how natural. Does that look natural or not? All right? It took me 5 hours to paint that. No, just kidding. Actually, I can paint about 300 an hour by hand to do this. And then I have all kinds of colors here, and there's some others, fire straw there. But the colors that are, and this is ironic because Ned, he uses red and light blue, and I call mine dragonfly and red, of course. And that's what I have found. David, we got to get this out. We're going to get the juice. The light blue, right? The light blue, the dragonfly. Yeah. It's working pretty good, isn't it? And a lot of it we think because those greens, those bluegills have that blue up on their head there, and so it's making a difference. So try it. You try that. This is more of a disco blue, but that light blue might work too. And there's other you just got to experiment with different combinations. But if you've got clearer water, that head's going to show up, and that contrast in them is a little bit different for those bass that they haven't seen it, and they're going to bite it. right?
I think that was something you were talking about earlier, is you mostly were trying to do contrasting colors.
Yes,
So
yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
worm or whatever
Yeah.
you're using, doing like almost an
Yeah.
opposite color of
Yeah.
the head.
Now some of them I do match in super clear water.
Okay.
Like I'll use green pumpkin with copperhead.
Okay.
With copperhead, because it has a little glitter in it. It just looks so real in there when
Yeah.
you do that. So, but the contrasting works pretty good. This is kind of the same a little bit, but you still have some contrast here, you know. But that is deadly right there in dirtier water, so you know. Okay, so go ahead. Next, there's a variety of colors and sizes to choose from, and all these weights with these components. And you can see here's some red here, and then there's one there. So go ahead. I'm going to try to go faster. Hooks. So on hooks, I started out using the VMCs, but they're great hooks. They have a long shank, but the problem was as soon as they hit a rock, they would dent. And if I tried to sharpen them, then if you sharpen a hook, I don't do that much anymore, because when you sharpen the hook, the barb is actually thicker than what it was. I want to keep it as thin as possible, so I went to the Berkeley Fusion 19s, and they're anodized, and they hold up a little bit longer, and they slice real good. Then, of course, Trey helped me with this one, a Super Finesse Owner 2/0. Those are pretty good, but this one here, when they hook a fish, they're locked. They are not getting off. If you got it on there good, they are not gonna. I'm not worried about them coming out of the water or nothing on these, because they really lock.
Getting them, Marty?
Huh?
Those trunk cars, have you had trouble getting them?
You will now. No,
You tried to order from Taco
Yeah, they are. People found out. I mean, they're. I know I have a lot of friends that are using them, and they're telling their friends, and they're hard to get.
You use the drop shot one for that?
They're drop shot, yeah, they're drop shot. I use all drop shot hooks on my Nekos.
The bad thing about the Berkeleys is they rust.
The what?
They rust. The Berkeleys.
They will, but like I have cases that I use that are really good there, and then I use that moisture stuff in my stuff as well to keep it dry if I can. But yeah, they do rust. These though, for me, are the bomb.
Yeah.
And the 1/0 is a bigger hook. You can get away with the 1. I do have one, size 1 as well. But Trocar actually called me this year and says, "Hey man, we hear you're using it. You want some more?" And I said, "Yeah." So maybe that's helped. I don't know for this, but they are selling them. I know they're selling a lot of them because I caught my big fish on these this year right here. Now, if you know how after winter the mouths are a little bit more solid and they're tougher. That I do use those a little more when they're mouth. If I come across some fish in a lake that are like that, then I'll go to these, you know, a little bit more. And I do have a chance of losing them, but these, man, these penetrate really good too. And then you have the weedless module. But I found with these though is that they'll twist and they'll turn sometimes on you. So you know you got to decide what you like the best. Okay, next one. Okay, and then components. Now guys have used the, what do you call those, the O-rings? The thing with the O-ring is, especially on a young dinger or a Cinco, it's gonna rip it as it goes. If you use something a little bit wider, it puts the force more across the worm, and you're not gonna get it ripped up as fast. The sleeves, now I'll give you a story on this. Russ Snyder's came up to me one time in a meet in a tournament in Pennsylvania. And he said, "Hey, I found some collars that'll work." He went to Ace Hardware and found these black heat shrink. Well, it worked on the darker baits, but I wanted to use it on the lighter baits. So then I searched all kinds of companies to find the right plastic that wouldn't melt Elastec. And this stuff that we have right now will not melt it. Nobody else has it. You can't buy that in the store, just so you know. You buy it from me though, but I'm not trying to sell them here. I'm just telling you that they do work. And the other thing is my record this year is I caught 38 bass on one Neko worm this year. On one sleeve and one Neko worm. That's my record. Usually I get 15 to 20. But today, for some reason, 2 of them stole them right off the deal. So I don't know how that happened. But anyway, you don't need the tools, but you can use them for some. The ones that are on eBay, they're made out of silicone, they will melt your Elastec. I'm just going to tell you that. And there's a lot of guys that sell them. Yes, Nick.
Is there any reason to just, when you're using Elastec, can you just skip the ring?
You could skip the ring, yes. You could just put it on there, I call it naked. Just put it on there. You'll lose it after 2 or 3 times, a lot of times. Here's the problem. You guys, how many's in a kayak here? Use a net when you're using a Neko. Here's why. Because as soon as that bass comes out of the water, that Neko's flying around, and then the weight is going to, if you got it glued in, it's not going to come out, but it's going to fly off of your hook.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why, the main reason I use them is when I'm catching or getting out of the water. You know, so you can go naked, but use a net though if you're not using it. But they do work good. I mean, I just use lighter or a torch and shrink them down real fast. And you guys are welcome to see all the stuff that I have up here later on this. And I have them that fit the RoboWorm ones, the 1/4 inch. You don't have to even heat shrink them. You just slide them on. Yes.
How quick do you have to be with that heat to not affect?
2 seconds max. Not even 2 seconds. It's just like done. Yeah. It'll melt it right away. It's nuts how it works good. It works really good on there, and you can't even see it. You can't see the heat shrink at all. And then, one little careful thing you want to do is when you're hooking the worm, you want to skin hook the worm barely, and then right near the edge is where you want to hook, not in the middle, because you lose more of your bend on the barb. You want to get as much bend as you can. That's a little nuance that I do with it as well. Okay, next one. And feel free to ask questions like you guys. You guys have great questions here on this. When to throw it? I'm going to tell you right now. Some guy, you can only throw this bait during this time of the year. You can throw a Neko in Antarctica and it'll work. All right. I just put 45 to 80. Just put something up there. But they will work in any type of temperature, any kind of water, any time of year, anywhere in the country. I have fished from the East Coast to West to South to North, and they have worked in every single state that I've been in. Water clarity, best and clear to lightly stained. But I feel like this. I will use a darker color in murky water, but I'll do that. Everybody makes fun of my shake, but I shake it. And when I shake it, it gives that vibration and it gives it a presence in murky water, and we get bit in murky water with it. Open water and offshore structure, laydowns, docks, brush, vertical cover. A lot of guys go, well, how come you don't use a weed guard? I said, I don't need to. My line is the weed guard. The line is the weed guard on it, and it will get you through more of this. How many times did I get snagged today?
Oh, 0.
Well, I got that one. You got to get on the dock. Well, that was human error.
Yeah.
But how many times did I get snagged?
None.
How many times did you get snagged?
Oh, a dozen.
I'm just saying that it is weedless because of how it's rigged. That it comes across this way, so that barb's not going to catch that wood. Now you are going to get snagged sometimes. If I feel like the brush is real heavy, I'm going to bring it through a little bit quicker at first and get those bass that are moving around. Then I'm going to go up. Guys, how many of you guys have cane poled? So you go up to the side, I hook the side, and I just cane, I just drop it, and I cane pole stuff on the edge of my kayak, and it works pretty good. People think it's funny, but you know what? I'm catching more fish, so it works. It's perfect when you want a subtle profile, a wacky rig, but it'll fall faster and get down to the strike zone with that weight. The other thing is you want to adjust your weight to the fall. Like this happened by accident the last tournament I was in. The weight broke off and I didn't know it. I hit a rock with it, and they will break sometimes. And I was like, man, it's like not falling very fast, but I'm not catching fish though. Well, the head had come off, but the weight was still, the needle part was still in it. And I said, I'm just going to keep using that. And that's how I caught 2 bigger ones and upgraded that day. So don't worry if it falls off. But the fall rate is so important. You got to find out what they want. Do they want it like a fast fall, a slow fall? I found out that the slower the fall, the better, whatever you're doing. So I use a lot of 1/16. The 1/8 I'll use if I got to get it deeper and if it's windy, you know how. So those are the differences for me. And on docks, I try to get as slow as I can on docks or laydowns. Okay, next one. I use a 7-foot to 7.2 rod, and they're right here. I'm going to just go ahead and let you guys, I'm going to pass them around. But I know Ned made the mention of I use a big rod. Well, I do have a 6-foot rod that when I'm fishing sticks, but I want a long, I used his rod. They're pretty slick. But I don't know, I just like the power of these. They're a medium, and I've got Shimano Vanfords. I got the Bass Pro rod, a Signature Series. And I've got my own signature rod with Little Miami Outfitters.
Watch the ceiling there.
Oh yeah, better watch that. But you want to, even though you use a 7-foot or a 7.2, some guys even use a 7.4. you want to make sure it's sensitive, all right, when you're doing that. Now, let me get back to where did I put my,
Is that it right there?
right here. Anyway, Finesse, I use my own Finesse stick. I have a Cheeto blank on it, which is the best you can get. And then reels, 1500, 2500 series. And then, of course, I use the Bass Pro. Those are the main ones that I use. And guys ask me how many rods I take with me. I usually rig up 3, and I might have 2 Trocars and 1 Berkeley on there. I might have a smaller worm, a bigger worm. I may not have any worms on there to start out with, just to see what color I want to use. And then in my box here, this is all I take, guys, right here. This is all I need. That's all I need right there. And everything's in there. No one can look. No, just kidding. Anyway, I just bring several colors. I bring some extra super glue with me. Be sure you glue your heads in the worm. You got to heat up that nail just a little bit for a couple seconds. Put it in the worm, take it out, put a dab of super glue, and put it back on. That's key. So that's my equipment that I use. Go ahead, next one. Main line. This is just what I use, guys. Suffix 832 from 10 pound to 20 pound, and I use neon. Why? Who witnessed me? Austin, I think you saw my line move?
Yeah, swimming off.
Yeah, so I just watch my line. I watch the knot, or I watch the line move, and then I know I got them, and I sweep it. And then that neon's important so you can see your line. And then the leader, I'm a big proponent. I am not sponsored by these guys or anything. I'm just saying that Sunline is the bomb for me. Sunline Sniper fluorocarbon from 10 to 16. I do use Seagull or I think it's Invisics or something like that. The gold label, an 8 pound or under for smallies. But generally I get by with 12 to 14. And I'm not worried about the fish seeing that or whatever. The knot, this is where I tie the lefty cray. Lefty cray knot. It's easy to tie. It's on YouTube. You can see it. I tie it because it's easy to tie in the wind as well.
Really?
And by the way, when I break off, I just go to the next rod, and then I try to fix them later if I have to. It takes a little practice to master any of them. The Uni, Albright, FG. What was the one you used?
Cigar.
The Seagull knot. So there's all kinds of knots out there, but that's the knot that I use. I have not had any trouble with it for years. When I first started using the leader, it was in Texas on Lake Fork, and I didn't tie it properly, and I lost fish after fish after fish, and I was like, oh, this is not good. So then I just researched and I found, and then actually Ron Champion's the one that showed me the lefty cray one time, because I was so disgusted because I thought I could win that tournament, and I was like, man. And he goes, hey, come here. And he showed me that knot, and from then on I've used it. So there you go. Okay, next one. And then rig demonstration. Oh, we don't need to play the video.
No, we don't need to.
But hook placements through the worm. The point should aim toward the tail of the bait. When you hit something, the leader will work as sort of a weed guard. I said that. The other thing is, when it's on the bottom there, I'm going to talk about the techniques in a second, but let the worm do the action. The worm will shake. And also, here's a little trick for you. If you split the tail of the worm, cut it with scissors, those two, they'll make little tiny vibrations there. Little secret for you there. That's why they have that, what's that one called? The
Tickler Z.
The Tickler Z, yeah. So anyway, and then use a Snyder sleeve, and then optimal weight. Oh, by the way, notice where I have it hooked, about a third of the way, right? Well, if they're not really aggressive fish, I'm going to move it clear back to halfway, almost like a wacky, and do it that way. If they're really aggressive, I'll move it up closer. That just depends on that. Okay, so that's a little trick for you too on that. Okay, next one. I'm going pretty fast here, but let it fall on slack line, guys. This is a good video a long time ago too, by the way. That was good, and that shows my shake. It shows what I'm doing with it. And anyway, line twitches while it sinks. Slowly lift and let it fall, and then drag along structure. Now, Ned did something really cool today. He caught 3 fish off of 3 snags. Yeah. All right? And here's why. When you got it stuck in that rock, that's going to draw attention down there, and as soon as it frees itself, boom, they got it. And that's what he did today. If you're getting snagged in rock a lot, it's because a lot of times the bluegills are snatching it and drawing it down in there. And that tells you that there's bait fish there. So there's bass. And what I'll do is flick my line and flick it. And then when I flick it out of there, boom, you get caught just like he did today. So the other thing is this, if you're bringing in your retrieve, there are times, how many guys have caught a fish right on the boat before? When you're bringing, yeah, you know what I mean. So when, get in the habit of this, when you bring your Neko in, about halfway back, let it fall. Boom. A lot of times you get hit right there. Big one will be falling. Because those little ones are around it, and that big one's just sitting back there. I'm going to wait till it swims up. I'm going to get it. And boom, it'll get it. So there's another one for you. Okay, next one.
Fast, sorry.
That's right. I'm going pretty fast too. I talk real fast. Go back one. But is that it? Yeah, go forward.
Yep.
Okay, don't overwork it. Let the worm do the action. Adjust the weight, like I said. Watch for subtle bites. That's why, like, on my rods, I can feel the bite on slack line. That's what you want to be able. You got to really focus and pay attention to that. And then remember that mixing worms together will cause them to melt. You don't want to do that. Keep them separated in their package and so forth. Like I said, I keep a separate package for my weights and my hooks. And I get these on Amazon. That's another Russ Snyder's idea. Get those. And then everything's individually packaged, and you got to be careful of mixing them. Those are just some common mistakes people make with them. The other thing is, don't leave your Neko laying in the water when you're measuring a fish, because they do come up and grab you. I've almost lost them. Yeah. Okay, next one. Organization. Keep it really simple. Like I said, everything is in here in different pouches. Everything that I use, and then I have this one separate for hooks. And this is all I take on my links when I go out. That's all. That's it. My pliers, my PFD, always wear that. And then the lure, the Snyder. I have an extra pack of Snyder sleeves just in case. There. So next one. Anything else? Oh, look at this, guys. Jared Fosno, big check recently. Russ Snyder's big checks. Logan Greeno from Nebraska. He actually makes his own worms, and he makes a Neko, and he used our Neko weights, and he won the Bassmaster in Nebraska for the college. And of course, David Hutzel and I teamed up, and we've got two championships this year in that. And then, but there's a lot of guys using them that won't tell anybody because they don't want anybody to know they're using them. So, but these guys did oblige to that. But people are winning checks. Guys, that Fothergill kid, he's a Neko freak, and on the Bass Tour. So, and then also Trey McKinney's been using it. So not our weights, but they have their own stuff that they use. So anyway, there you go. That's it on that. And then here's my contact information. I even got shirts that says "Got Neko" on it on our site.
Does that help me?
It will help you.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
It attracts a lot of things when you wear it. Real quick here, make sure. Let me go over common retrieves real quick before we go. Drag and pause, and I'll have all this stuff on my web. Guys, make sure you get a card before I do that. Make sure you get a card, and on the back is that QR code, and that takes you to my Intel site. You do not have to buy a subscription. That's only for David Hutzel that wants to know my secret spots. All right? Right, David?
Do you have anything with you today to sell?
Yeah. I'm gonna do this too.
Wait, don't-
I do have some painted ones here today. I have some unpainted ones. I have some sleeves here today. They're at discounted prices for you to buy if you want. I also have some giveaways here. We're gonna do some giveaways as well here in a second. But anyway, so but I'm going to put this on the I'm going to have a little deal on the website with all this, and like the Dragon Paws, hops and lifts, shake and quiver, dead sticking. I want to emphasize dead sticking. You have to be patient with the Ned rig. Everybody says I can't do the Ned rig because I'm not patient. I'm sorry, but you got to be patient because it does work. But on the dead stick, let it fall to the bottom. Don't do anything to it. Just let it fall to the bottom and let it sit there. Boom. If it's sitting there after 30 seconds, just one small twitch, boom, you might get a hit there. If it doesn't happen then, move it again. The other thing is I showed one of you guys today, I just take my rod and I tap it.
Yeah.
I just tap my rod. And this kid was with me, I was guiding a kid last week, and he goes, I'm doing exactly what you're, he's crying. I'm doing what you're doing, I can't catch the fish, and you caught 20 already. And I said, it's your breathing. So, and I had him like, anyways, this kid with it. So I go, just tap your rod, just He taps it, boom, he caught like 5 in a row doing that. And he's like, so all day he was just tapping his rock. I don't know if it worked or not, but it worked for him. But here's the deal, guys. You have to give people confidence. You have to give yourself confidence in what you're going to do. That's what I do. I just try different things till it works. Okay, and then especially for pressured bass on that. And then let's see here. Slow swim. You can swim them. I know. Like today, Ned was dragging. He was hopping it. Just try different things with it. And like I said, these are on here. I'm not going to get into detail on them now. The video shows it as well on there. But I'm just very passionate about fishing in general. I'm passionate about getting kids into fishing, just so you guys know. I have a kids club. If you know anybody that has gear they want to donate, like extra stuff, I get it every week. I get stuff, and we give it to all the kids. We have an expo January 31st in Auburn. This year we're doing a kayak show. You bring your kayak in, it's like a car show. We're doing all kinds of awards with that. And we're having 2 guys that can rig from companies that are coming in, and we're going to have a rig demonstration. If you know anybody who wants to give a seminar on something, we have that available too. We'll fly you in, Ned, to do that. and then that's on January 31st. And we have all kinds of contests. We have chili cook-off, and so it's our 3rd year doing that. All the money from that goes to our kids. We have bought a lifetime fishing license for 1 kid each year. We have a drawing for it, and it's based on participation. And so we have some happy kids up there in Auburn. But that's my passion for that as well. We have that. It's a big club. A lot of kids do it. We give away a kayak this year as well. We have several events we do. You can see that on our site. But the main thing is, I hope that if you can go away from here with one thing you learned today, that's great. I feel good about that. You know, it's my paycheck today if you learn one thing. And the other thing is, I am not. Believe me, I kept this a secret for about 2 or 3 years before I started telling everybody what I was doing with it. But I do sell them. But it does pay my gas to go places. That's all I say. But really though, I don't know if I even make it. You know, I just like making them. So they're here. There's 1/16, there's 1/8, and there's, like I said, there's some plain ones, and there are some sleeves. The sleeves are $2. It's 10 for $4 of those here. But first, we got to give away some prizes. All right. Huh?
Turn lights on.
Turn the lights on.
The other thing I was going to make mention of is I bet probably 80+% of the fish we caught today was almost dead stick in it.
Yeah.
I mean, at least.
Yeah.
And the other thing to keep in mind is almost every single fish we caught was in 10 foot or less of water. Probably 5 foot or less of water.
Wow.
Granted, that will vary lake to lake, but that's the reality of it. So,
Right.
52 bass caught today, 4 hours, 70+ probably fish total. The largest fish being a 21-incher.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, that should show you. I mean, and that was the Ned rig and the Neko.
Yeah.
I thought the weather was perfect this morning.
And this morning, yeah, we had a little bit of rain this morning, even, and everything too.
And we had lulls in that. We had lulls in that where we, you know.
Well, and the other thing to keep in mind, I think I mentioned this earlier, but it's like, you know, only 10 to 20% of the lake really holds bass.
Right.
So it's like you can't just go sit somewhere like and expect the bass to show up all of a sudden because they don't like that lake or that spot. You have to go
All right,
find them.
here we go. Name a top 10 bait from all time. One of those old net top. Name one. Huh?
Spinnerbait.
What?
Spinnerbait.
That was what he talked about.
Beetle.
Who said the marabou? Who said the marabou?
Marabou.
Yeah. Beetle spin for sure.
You get a Zinc or Z hot craw. All right, another one.
Puddle jumper.
Puddle jumper. You get the TRD bugs.
Beetle spin.
Beetle spin. You get some dead.
Roadrunner.
What? Roadrunner. Look at those. Bang sticks and chartreuse. Anybody else? Is there any more? Name one of those famous guys.
Jigworm.
Chuck.
Chuck Woods.
Ito.
Chuck Wood. What'd you say?
Chuck.
Chuck? I'm gonna give it to you. Here. Anybody else? Huh?
Virgil and Bill Ward.
You already got one. Who hasn't got one yet?
Every Sunday morning was the Bill.
Bill Ward. All right, there you go. Okay. Anybody else?
Virgil Ward, I think it was the Sunday morning fishing.
Yeah, Virgil Ward. Here. No, you already got one.
Ray Finkel Tackle Shop.
Yeah.
Somebody said that back there.
Who did?
You did.
Okay, there you go. I got some TRT tubes. Whoops. Parker, just for being cool and standing there and doing nothing. Here you go. Oh. Parker's a runner for the cross-country team and track team for the KU.
I heard Jane was gonna enter the Bassmaster. She was asking about Christine.
Yeah.
So she needed some guidance on that, right, Jaden? Yeah.
There you go. I got her phone number if you want.
We're entering you into the Bassmaster.
Did you get one? Everybody get one? Ned?
You need some baits? Come on.
Smaller ones.
All right, we got some, who wants some green pumpkin TRD tubes? There you go. All right. Okay, that's all I have. Like I said, any questions?
You should give this away too. There's some stuff.
Oh, we got more stuff to give away.
Whose stuff is in his box?
Is that it? That's it
Whose
right
stuff is
there.
in his box?
Yeah, we have this too though. This is Ned's.
That's,
So
That's
is
to give
Ned
away,
giving
Ned?
stuff away too?
Okay, all right. Yeah,
we
Z-Man's
had a
was
lot
really
of-
good
We had a
there.
lot of stuff to give away. You can mix it up here though. I mean, if people already got it, but there's some.
James
Oh, yeah.
Smith.
By the way,
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
don't be afraid to downsize. Like I said, I
I don't
actually
think that's
eco
being
these.
giveaway.
No, that's all I'm keeping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you're
I have a hook for them,
These are mine.
but I'm not telling you.
Keep what you're keeping. Take what you're keeping out of there.
One of these.
Here.
So I'll take some stuff.
I'll tell you what, guys. Take 2 each and pass it back. How about that?
There you go.
Now, if anybody, what I'm gonna do here,
You don't need.
Tony's not shy.
Tony's gonna sit there, then Tony's gonna sit there.
Did you give out any big TRDs? So he mentioned TRD, but he uses the big TRD for Neko. That's what
That
it's.
one?
It's
Yeah, the big
4-incher.
TRD, yeah.
Did you give any of those away?
Yeah, I did, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
I'll
gave.
take the green
And
one.
then,
Does anybody need?
Oh, hey,
anybody
here,
not
hey.
have a big TRD and need one? You
please
need one?
take a card and pass it back.
We
did that.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did?
we already got 'em.
Oh, nice, okay. And then,
Hey,
if you
Austin,
want,
I don't think that goes in there.
Oh no, there's not.
There you go.
where's it at? If you guys need any heads, they're up here. And you can order them on my website. I have like 20 colors. So, it's kind of like a,
You got green pumpkins in there?
then I do have heat shrink.
Andy Croft.
I have heat shrink and more land here. Please, okay.
So what are we doing?
What's that,
Giveaway
the
on?
big one? That's the ones that fit the TRD.
Anybody not have a Ned head and need a Ned head?
Or 2 by, yeah.
You need a Ned head?
They're good heads.
And there's bags.
These aren't fancy, these are just the ones that I make myself,
So
so.
if you gotta get one of these,
That's a good idea.
You show them all for
Okay, great, yeah.
there we go, Pack Jack, right there. That's the money.